Are we ready?
I'm trying to get fucking wasted.
Okay, we gotta do this.
Trying to get fucking
Alright, whatever. Are you ready?
Who's got the Mega Man? Hey guys, it's Louie here from HOF, and I'm sitting here at Caliscope, and we're going to talk about music, I guess.
Yeah.
No.
Music and love.
That's just where we're already rolling at this point. Let's talk about Caliscope. What is Caliscope musically?
Caliscope sounds kind of like what you would imagine California sounds like. We're indie rock. We have a little bit of hip hop in there, sneaking a little bit of pop, maybe a little bit of country, and yeah, just throwing in a bunch of everything.
So as a band, how long have you guys been jamming together?
Us together, we're fairly recent. We're only a few months old, this pack of
3
people.
months.
But
3 months is this 4-piece unit right now?
Yeah,
3 months.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Nick and I have been jamming since
July.
July of last year.
July.
Yeah.
So is that the formation of Caliscope? Is July of 2016?
It kind of rooted from a solo project that I started back in November of 2015. And just from then on, I kind of just like wrote more stuff, and then I wanted more hands touching it, so we had a bunch of people come in, and a lot of different musicians, and then we met Nick, and then we lost all those other musicians, and so for a little bit it was just me and Nick, and then we ended up meeting up with Justin and Chase.
So this band has been together for, it's not been too long of a time. You guys have been pretty stable in what you guys are doing, right? You guys have a pretty set idea for what your music is going to be, what it's going to sound like?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about maybe what you guys are doing right now musically. You guys have a couple shows coming up. You know, you have First Fest. You have
First Fest.
Do you have any of the shows you guys are playing? You want to plug maybe?
We have some surprises coming after First Fest. We're keeping them a secret for right now, but we have some cool stuff planned. But First Fest is that's where it's gonna be.
First Fest. You want to talk a little bit about that and what that is, or?
Yeah, it's a grassroots movement music festival that we're holding in Sacramento, and there's just a lot of local artists that are coming and participating, and a lot of community members that are volunteering and pushing it forward and trying to play true to that grassroots movement. So pushing it organically through word of mouth and just on social media, and yeah. That's how it's getting done.
When's that happening? What's the date on that?
May 6th and 7th, but we perform on the 7th, which is a Sunday.
May 7th is your show?
That's our...
What stage are you guys on?
We're on the Docks, which is the main stage.
Main stage.
And we're opening up for DeLorean and Arden Park Roots.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about like maybe what your songwriting practice or what your sessions are like before you guys go on stage. What's that process?
I feel like it's Chris. You know, he'll write out the lyrics and he'll kind of be like, "All right, here, let's play this." And we kind of just stumble through it till it sticks, and then we'll kind of add in our different flavors, and then we.
So Chris is putting together the music for the most part. He's putting together the main guitar riffs.
Just the basics.
I feel like pretty much the entire outlines, all the lyrics, all the chords, and like most of the general rhythms are Chris, and then like Nick as the drummer and kind of like the one with the most seniority other than Chris gets like probably the most say behind that, like in terms of rhythms and stuff, and then like Chase and I just kind of do what we do.
He's like, here are the chords, and I'm like, okay.
He doesn't even give me the chords. I just try to hear it by ear, man.
So there's
I guess every time.
So there's freedom involved with you.
Yeah.
So you're writing the majority of the stuff.
I just can't play something that sounds bad. We know that we shouldn't do stuff that sounds bad. You know, that simple rule. And I like have.
It's a good rule as a musician.
I have this admiration for dissonant, like honestly just terrible guitar sounds that like punk bands and stuff play, and I can't really play that in the regular song, so it's nice to get that all out of our system after we played for like an hour.
So you and Chase, you are the most recent additions to the band. You both came about what, like 1 week within one another?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that. How you guys joined the band?
You go first.
Well, to my understanding, Justin and Chris, they had a little bit of a history before me. I found Chris on like Facebook through another band called Simple Jack. They're like, oh yeah, hit this guy up, and then I saw him posting about, we need a bassist and whatnot. I hit him up. I was like, yo, dude, like, I'll come lay down some tracks and we could see.
Were you a bassist before that?
No, I had not picked up a bass before, and I came in and I was like,
So good at it.
It was funny because the first practice you didn't even bring a bass. You just showed up and you're like, oh, I don't own a bass. Well, I'm glad I just carry a bass with me.
Yeah, look, we just had two sitting in the closet.
Yeah, we had a practice amp for him to borrow too.
So you didn't have your own bass?
I don't have any bass equipment at all.
He lied to me over the phone. He's like, yeah, I play bass. I'm like, this guy's been playing for years.
So you showed up, used their bass, auditioned with their equipment, and you got in, I guess.
Yeah, they're like, all right.
Sacramento needs basses. I think that's
There's a shortage.
So, Justin, what's your introduction to Caliscope?
We met a few times at shows that the older lineups of Caliscope played with my other band, Worthy Goat.
So
I think you were like messaging me or something and just like making some small talk, and I was like, I've got a new friend, Bryce, and he was like, he probably wants you to play guitar with them, and I was like, should I ask? He was like, yeah, so I did, and then auditioned like a week later.
So Nick, what is your main inspiration for Caliscope here?
The first time I went over to his garage and started jamming with him, I was just like, it's so cool that like I can bring all of my experience with drumming. I mean, I kind of started out as like kind of jazz and blues, and like kind of moved into like I went through a couple bands. I was kind of just straight up just rock. My brother's a metal drummer, and I knew I was never going to go into that category of drumming. I always liked all the kind of right blast beats.
The double bass.
Yeah, and just like I liked always playing with a really simple kit. I liked playing with my blues and jazz influences, and kind of just.
There was a song you guys were performing earlier today. It was the first song of the day you guys performed, and Chase is pretty quiet for the first chorus, the first verse. I think the second verse, you kick in with this really funky type of like Red Hot Chili Peppers flea-ish bass line. And for someone who says they've never played bass, like that was pretty impressive. What are you bringing into this band that you can just do stuff like that?
I have like this thing for just funk bass. I will admit that I have indulged in Red Hot Chili Peppers and just admiring the instrumentation that goes along. I just admire the instrumentation that goes along with it, and just hearing how.
What song was that, first of all? The one you were playing?
That's called Spirit.
Spirit.
So that's like our hype song. Like we get up there, we come in, we build up, get really big. We come in, just go bam, lay it out. Chris has got his guitar.
I think it's really cool that during my guitar solo, you switch up your bass line halfway through, and it's almost like you're soloing with me.
Yeah, I try to match what Justin is doing in his solos to really embellish it.
So you all have this super different background in music, right? You all have sort of found one another, and however you did that. Do you think that maybe even conflicting interest in music has made Caliscope sound the way it sounds?
I mean, I kind of like it though. I like when Chris brings a song to the table, and then like it's an interesting thing where like we can point to Justin and be just like, that needs to be a little less Grateful Dead and a little more of this, and like
that's almost the like word for word what happens every time.
Yeah, can you just not Grateful Dead? Like,
just don't use the green pedal, Justin. Just leave it at home.
Don't do it.
Wait, first of all, what is the green pedal? Because I hear you talking about
the green pedal. Is this like? It's a weird pedal that it's called the Digitech Synth Wah, and I don't know how it's supposed to.
No one knows how to use it.
I don't know how it's supposed to be. I got it free, and I don't know anybody who's ever used it before.
Yeah.
But, in technical terms, it's an envelope filter, and what it does is it like messes with the equalization of the tone, so that like you get this weird quacky like
Except
and I like
music.
and I try to use the green pedal to do that because it has an envelope filter in it, but it's like the settings are really weird and touchy, so like they
It
just
doesn't work
pretty
well
much.
sometimes.
I
So
pretty
something
much
does-
don't use
the-
it for
the pedal has a
Caliscope
mind
very
of its own.
much. I want to though, like most of the time I want to.
So that's your input.
Oh, but
is
what I
kinda
do
quack.
use it for is noise. Like if we do like a weird
yeah.
noisy thing,
Uh-huh.
then I'll just turn it on, I'll turn my delay on, and I can do this thing with my delay where it'll go like wah! And then like I can mess with the settings on the green pedal and like change everything from like wah!
I like the.
It's the
I
ocean
don't-
crashing.
Yeah.
Wallflowers. So what's that song about? Let's talk about that a little bit.
That song was actually one of the first songs I wrote when I was in my solo project, and that was actually at a time where I was deathly scared of playing at open mics, and I had never played at open mics ever. And after I wrote a couple of songs for this solo project, and then I decided I wanted to write like the best song that I could write. And at the time, that was like just like what I focused on, and that song really helped me. It's about social anxiety, and that's what really helped me like just go up and give me the confidence to play in front of people. And then earlier that year, which was last year, I just told myself on New Year's, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna not get scared, and I'm just gonna play at open mics. And then it's like next year, we're in a band. Halfway through the year, we're gonna be at a festival. So yeah.
Well, do you guys are all pretty well-seasoned musicians. Do you still feel that sort of stage fright, that nervousness that goes on before you go on stage?
Every time.
Oh yeah.
Every time?
Oh.
It's a little bit of mixture of being excited and like the fear of not playing to the potential that you want to play at. Usually most of the time, once you get up there and you start getting into the groove and you look over and you smile at your bandmates when you have a cool band moment, and you get into that groove and your ability just keeps getting like built up by the musicians around you.
I definitely like this was the first band I ever got to play with a drummer in. So like the first show, like I was really nervous at first, and then I noticed that if you're excited enough, it doesn't really matter that you were nervous at first.
Everybody was
'Cause if you're
drunk
just
anyways.
pumped, when I hear him start to drum, I can just look at him and then just for like a minute and get into it, and then I'm like, okay, now I can just jump up and down and enjoy this for the rest of the show.
What else do you guys have in plan for the future? Do you have any recording dates coming up or anything like that? Any albums maybe?
We are in the writing process. We're still in the writing process of our first album. It's almost done, but we are still working on it. But it's gonna be a lot different than any local release that happens for sure in Sacramento.
So in the meantime, before that, what's the best way for people to get a listen to Caliscope? Is it live, in person?
The best way is live, but we're also on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're basically anywhere you can find good music. We're on YouTube. You could find us on Amazon.
There's only the 2 songs, right? If you're streaming online.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear like 7 or 8 songs, you have to see us live.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Is there anything you guys want to add? Is there anything?
Chase,
I
do the
just think
face.
we're pretty cool.
What?
Chase do the face.
Do you want to do your
Chase can do the face.
Wait, Chase do the face.
The Macaulay
I'm
Culkin.
saying that now.
Everywhere I fucking go.
Hold on to your pants. ladies.
Yes!
Ah.
Said that for you. That is Caliscope. That is HOF and Caliscope. I think we're good.